Hi guys, and welcome back to another video here on the Human Window YouTube channel. Now, I hope you're all keeping safe and well in this crazy time that we're in right now with the coronavirus pandemic. There's a lot of uncertainty out there, a lot of people being forced to work from home, not allowed to leave their homes during the quarantine. So that actually inspired today's video, which is an interview with Max Lowery, who's an online health coach. And we just had a casual chat about how he's been dealing with the quarantine situation and some of the tips that he's been giving his clients to help them get through what's really a crazy time and unprecedented situation for most people in the world. So I hope you enjoyed the interview. As ever, if you have any questions or comments, just leave them in the comments down below and we'll get back to you. And otherwise, I hope you enjoy the video and make sure you stay safe. So Max, thanks a lot for coming back on the Human Window YouTube channel. I think you're probably our most frequent guest, so thank you again for coming back on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so I just thought it would be cool to just I guess to have a quick chat about how you're dealing with this whole situation. It's kind of a crazy time right now. I know you're in the south of France, or you're in France at the moment. So yeah, I just thought if you could fill us in a little bit about your current situation during this COVID-19 pandemic and what it's meant for you so far.
Yeah, well, fortunately, I managed to make it down to the French Pyrenees, which, if you listened to last time, it's where I host Connect retreats, which are these hiking and fitness retreats. Still up in the air whether or not those are going to happen. I'm hoping the July ones still happen. I'm hoping things are back to normal by July, fingers crossed. But yeah, essentially, I could see this whole thing escalating quite quickly, and it was basically going to be a choice of me being quarantined and isolated with my parents or getting down here where my girlfriend is and her family. So yeah, it was kind of a no-brainer. And I actually I took the last ferry out of the UK because I drove my van down here. And yeah, so really fortunate that number one, I have this at my disposal. You know, when you're here, you don't really notice what's going on in the outside world. You're quite protected. You know, we're pretty remote. It's a farm, so we've got stores of food. We grow our own vegetables. There's animals running around. So yeah, really fortunate that I managed to make it here. But essentially, I moved my entire personal training business online. So I'm still taking on coaching clients. I'm still coaching my clients through this difficult process. And I think it'll be interesting to talk about kind of what I'm advising them at the moment. So yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it sounds from the stuff you put on Instagram about where you are, it looks like kind of almost like the ideal place to be kind of self-isolating. But yeah, if you could, yeah, I mean, what kind of tips are you chatting to your clients about in terms of just dealing with this situation? Because it's such an unprecedented scenario for everyone.
Yeah, look, obviously, you know, it's a bit of a cliche to say it, and I'm sure you may have read it on Instagram, but it's 100% true. And it's something that I really kind of applied to my life anyway, even before this whole thing. And that is, you know, you can't always control what is happening around you, but you can control how you react to what is happening around you. And once you realize that, it's a really, really powerful thing because, you know, the most terrible things in the world could be happening to you, but if you're able to react and potentially make a bad situation better by staying in control and being positive, rather than making a bad situation worse, then, you know, going down this negative spiral, letting bad habits come in and panicking and worrying. And yeah, so that's kind of the first thing that I've really kind of drilled in to my clients, is that because a lot of them are really battling with it's mostly fat loss that I'm dealing with. It's primarily women, and a lot of them are trying to replace old habits, okay, habits that weren't, you know, getting them to where they need to be. And a lot of them were very negative and came from a negative headspace. And it's been great to see, once I've, you know, been coaching through this whole process, that, you know, it's not perfect, and no one is perfect, and you don't have to be perfect to get results, but they are realizing that their old habits weren't getting them to where they need to be. And throughout this whole process, they are recognizing that and they're staying on track. So it's like, it's really great to see that. So that's definitely probably the main thing that I've been telling them. And probably the second most important thing, and this probably applies to people who don't aren't necessarily looking to lose weight, but are working from home or are looking to stay productive, stay focused, stay motivated throughout this period, is implementing structure quite rigidly into this whole experience. So the way that I kind of implement my structure and the way I advise my clients to implement structure is to basically schedule everything. So if you are working from home, obviously many of you may already be scheduling, business tasks, but actually schedule the personal tasks, schedule your mobility, schedule your workout, schedule your meditation, schedule your nature time. And these things should actually take priority over the business tasks, because that is going to prevent you from getting burnout. That is going to prevent you from letting your personal life get out of control. And although people might think initially, oh, but I'm being less productive at work and work's more important, if you fail to address and look after yourself and the personal aspects of your life, you're going to be eventually going to have to lead potentially burnout, potentially not being as good at your job as you could, not performing at your best. So yeah, really, really important. So those are the two things that I've really drilled into my clients, is that you are in control of how you react to the situation. And once you've realized that you're in control, the first step to getting control is to create structure, create some scheduling.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's so important. I mean, I guess for me and you, we're kind of used to kind of working from home, as it were, anyway. But obviously, a lot of our friends and family are now kind of being forced to get used to that kind of way of dealing with things. But I guess even for us, it's a bit of a change, because we're especially here in the UK, where we're technically only allowed to leave the house to do exercise once a day and to buy food. Basically, that's it. But one of the things I've noticed is definitely just the fact that with all the gyms closed now, I'm obviously forced to do my exercise outdoors, and actually that's been quite nice. I've discovered a few parks near me, and so that's kind of changed things a bit in terms of the exercise routine. But yeah, I think scheduling is key, because otherwise, especially because we're kind of losing the structure of our day in terms of the commute to work, going to the office, and having this other stuff which would kind of have a schedule. That's all gone now. So you need to, like you say, you need to have that kind of built in. Are there any other kind of things that you're kind of recommending to your clients?
Yeah, so it really depends on the client, but obviously this is quite a stressful time. People are going to be stressed about losing their jobs, about financial security, about not being able to pay rent. Maybe they're having to deal with stress because their children are at home. And although it's been great that lots of personal trainers have shared, workouts, all that kind of stuff, but actually sometimes doing just another HIIT session where you're smashing your body, adding more stress into the body, isn't necessarily something that's going to help. You should be kind of focused on the mobility, the flexibility, walking, getting outside in nature. Meditation is really important. So with some of my clients, one of them actually is working for the NHS at the moment, and she has a real habit of really pushing herself and work hard in workouts, which is fine normally, but at the moment she's in such a state of stress. She's realized that with my advice, that is not helping. So she's just really dialed that back. She's just doing really slow jogs, walking, meditation, really focused on the meditation, actually incorporating her team and her colleagues with 10-minute daily meditation on my advice. And that's made a huge difference. So yes, I'm not saying that you shouldn't train, you shouldn't work out. It's just there are alternatives, and actually sometimes it's better to take a step back and try and reduce stress and work on things that restore your body rather than things that deplete your body. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people are having to change their routines. I think for the good. I'm hoping there's a shift with global behavior. The fact that people should realize that they don't have to go into their place of work every single day and waste their time, waste their money, and pollute the environment whilst they're at it. I'm hoping there's that kind of shift. I'm hoping there'll be a lot of shifts. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so much potential for change after this, that it's just such a kind of radical situation that could really force us to look at. I mean, one of the things I've noticed is it's really made me look at things that I would get kind of annoyed about, things that would stress me out, worries and problems. I mean, they're just paled into insignificance now. It makes you take a step back and really look at things. And And I think, that's definitely one of the positives to come out of it. And I think you were talking about, the different types of exercises, maybe some kind of, less stressful stuff. You recently made one of your kind of follow along yoga, like mobility routines available, didn't you, to your followers? And that's a great, I've had friends telling me that's helped them a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I released one of my mobility series, which is usually paid for free, just to kind of really dial in, and rather than me saying, "Oh, don't work out, don't do this, don't do that," to actually give something for people to do. And yeah, I've received a load of really good feedback, because I think, again, it's about turning a negative into a positive, and using this time to potentially practice things that you wouldn't normally practice in day-to-day life. So a lot of people are going to the gym, they're doing their workouts, but they're not necessarily putting the time and attention into the mobility, into the meditation, and all that aspect. So I was just trying to make that as easy as possible for people, because the mobility and the flexibility comes first. It's the most important thing that you can do for your strength, health, performance. It underpins everything else. And far too often, as a coach, as a personal trainer, I see men in particular just forgetting about that and just focusing on the big muscles, focusing on the bicep curls. And fundamentally, if you want to perform at your best, if you want to maintain a decent quality of life, especially with movement into old age, then the mobility, the flexibility underpins everything else.
Definitely, yeah. And what about sleep? Because I feel that that's a kind of another key point that people should be focusing on right now.
Absolutely. So part of that scheduling, part of that structure is maintaining your sleep practices now more than ever. And probably that is the most important thing that you can do, that you can structure, because it's very easy to just watch another Netflix episode. Oh, I don't have to wake up until, I don't have to be anywhere in the morning. And there's a danger of, over time, you end up going to bed later and later, waking up later and later, and you just completely shifted, your sleeping patterns. And it's well documented that the sleep before 12 o'clock is more important. More happens with REM and deep sleep in between the hours of 10 o'clock and 12 o'clock than it does after 12 o'clock. So essentially, even if you're getting 8 hours sleep, say going to bed at 2 a.m. and waking up at 10 a.m., even though you're getting 8 hours sleep, which is in theory a decent amount of sleep, the quality of your sleep will not be as good as if you were going to bed earlier. And that's purely because it's not in line with our circadian rhythm, our body clocks. As we've evolved as a species, we haven't evolved to go to bed that late. We've basically, our whole entire day is structured from when the sun goes down. So essentially, pretty much as soon as the sun goes down and the fire goes out, as it were, we're designed to be asleep. And that's part of the reason why I dim all the lights in the house. We've got the blue blocking glasses. So yeah, and don't worry, I'm not trying to make anyone feel guilty. Some of you might be in this position now where you're going to bed late and, you're waking up late. It's not too late, and there's always going to be a transition period, but just work to get back into good habits. It might be difficult at first. Probably the easiest way to do it, if you're going to bed late and waking up late, is just to start waking up early. And that's basically you're going to get a few days of maybe 5-6 hours sleep. But then after day one or day two, you're going to want to go to bed early because you're more tired.
Yeah, I think it's also quite a good time of year to be able to kind of move your circadian rhythm, because in the UK right now, we're just past the spring equinox. So it's like 12 hours of light, 12 hours of dark. So like it's actually fairly light now early in the morning. And so if you are wanting to kind of reset your circadian rhythm, get up a bit earlier, you can start kind of exposing yourself to some daylight in the morning when you first get up. And that's also a great way to kind of just get your body clock in sync. But yeah, I mean, for me, I've definitely noticed how, just looking at my score on the Aura Ring over the last like 2 weeks, I think this is the first time in a while where I've had just like consistent, a minimum of 7.5 hours for like the last 2 weeks, which is obviously partly because got no plans in the evening now. Can go to bed at any time, so that's made things a lot easier. But yeah, how have you got on, by the way, with the blue light glasses? Have they helped you?
Yeah, for me, they've made a huge difference. Like, I now just can't handle light in the evenings at all. And my girlfriend, just even last night, she turned this light on. I'm like, oh, it blinded me because I didn't actually have them on. So yeah, I'm definitely a lot more sensitive to light in the evenings, which you might think is a bad thing, but it's just more in line with our body clocks. And I'm definitely noticing that, particularly if I do have to work late. I'm managing 20 coaching clients at the moment, and that's creating programs for them, coaching notes, all that kind of stuff. So sometimes I might be on my laptop till like 9:30, and if I'm wearing my blue blocking glasses, which are pretty orange, they're quite strong, I think.
They're like these ones, aren't they?
Exactly.
Yeah.
In combination with flux on the screen, which is orange as well, like it's a definite. I'm not nearly as wired having used my laptop because of that. So yeah, I incorporate it for some of my clients. I definitely think some people are more sensitive to the blue light than others for some reason. I'm not sure why that would be, potentially. Like I think, for instance, my girlfriend Lila, I don't think she'd notice any difference at all from using them because she just falls asleep immediately no matter what she's doing, and she gets like 8 hours deep sleep. But for me, who is someone that if I wasn't so into my sleep and I wasn't quite rigorous with my bedtime routine and like blue light blocking glasses and stuff, I would almost certainly be struggling with insomnia a bit. So yeah, I think they're really good. I recommend them.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, like you said there as well, it's not just the blue light's one thing, but then like you said, the brightness of the light is actually important as well. Like, probably even if you had your whole house lit up with red lights and had them really bright, it probably still wouldn't be a great kind of place to be. But yeah, there's so many factors, and I think you're definitely right. Some people seem to kind of just get triggered by blue light, and other people not so much. It's probably a genetic variance of some sort, but who knows? You mentioned their bedtime routine. Like, what are some of the things because I think that's really key in this kind of this situation we're in as well. What kind of things do you recommend? I know we've spoken about it in the past, but what kind of things do you do before you go to bed?
Probably the most important thing is going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time. In fact, waking up at the same time is the most important thing that you can do because it synchronizes everything else. But once you've kind of got that dialed in, my bedtime routine starts about an hour before I go to bed. So about 9:30, 10 o'clock. And essentially, I'm dimming all the lights in the house, wearing my blue light blocking glasses. I'm cleaning the house, cleaning whatever I've left, I actually purposely leave the dishes for that time because for me, I switch my phone off, switch my laptop off, switch all that off. So that's done. And then I kind of focus on things like cleaning the house because for me, that really helps me to de-stress and unwind. And it's quite a mindful thing. And I'm quite present when I'm doing it. So it's like a form of mindfulness. And it's well documented that actually having a clean house can reduce stress. Again, some people are going to be more sensitive to that than others. I'm definitely sensitive to it. I would then write down a list of the things that I wanted to do the next day. I wanted to achieve the next day so that I'm not sitting there thinking about it in bed. That's really important for me because thoughts will just pop into my head and I'll be like, oh, I have to do that. I have to do that. And then I do just some stretching and finish off with some meditation. Stretching is just really relaxed. It's just, working through any tight points that I might have. It's 5 to 10 minutes. It's not structured. It's just kind of moving and releasing tension. And then the meditation, I've been using the Waking Up app by Sam Harris. Have you heard of that?
I have heard of it. I've not used it.
Out of all the apps that I've used, I'm a complete beginner to meditation. I've been doing consistently since October, so maybe 6 months. Drastic impact on virtually every aspect of my life. But out of all of them that I've tried, the Waking Up app is the best, just because he's a neuroscientist, Sam Harris, and the way that he describes what is going on, it's quite practical and it's really informative, and just the language that he uses really resonates with me, and it's allowed me to understand the concepts and the practices better, which in turn has then allowed me to incorporate the practice into my day-to-day life rather than just in the moment of meditation. So yeah, it's a step-by-step process that is by the whole bedtime routine that is gradually switching my mind and my brain and my body off, so that as soon as I kind of walk into my bedroom, I'm ready for sleep. And that's a really important process for me to go through, because like I said, if I don't do that, I'm up all night just thinking. It's not ideal.
Yeah, for sure. I think, yeah, like you said as well, it's probably more important now than ever as well. One thing as well that I've just been thinking about is the fact that obviously we're also kind of detached from, physical contact with people. So we're relying even more on social media and technology to kind of be in touch with each other. But, it's a fine line between using it, in a sensible way to keep up to date and just keep communicating with people, towards being just like using it, overusing it basically, and that becoming a problem. So yeah, so I was just wondering, just quickly, your thoughts on, because I know you're an advocate of digital fasting, and I just wondered, is that something you're also encouraging your clients to keep an eye on?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, particularly in the hours before bed, and first thing in the morning, I myself incorporate at least a 12-hour digital fast. So, I'm not looking at it first thing in the morning, and I'm not looking at it like right before bed. There's a definite, if you're just sitting there on Facebook, sitting there on Instagram, it's not going to do anything for your mental health, I don't think, in my experience. It's a distraction. It's going to ruin your focus and your attention, and it's going to prevent you from making this whole experience into a positive experience, where you could be learning a new skill, following an online course, getting into meditation, getting into mobility, rather than, just sitting on Instagram and Facebook. So yeah, for me, I always have to use social media, and I use my phone a lot just for my coaching clients, for my business, my following. So I have to be a bit more kind of rigorous with the digital fasting. On the weekends, I try very hard not to use my phone at all. Now that I'm here, like on a Saturday, I'll go off on a big walk, and I won't even take my phone most of the time. And that's really important for me, just to stay focused and to not be constantly distracted by all these things that are going on my phone, because I'm in such a beautiful location right now. Maybe should I show you the view?
Yeah, if you can, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
Hold on.
It's definitely going to be a nicer view than East London.
Okay, can I turn the screen around? Excuse the satellite, that's how I've got internet.
Wow, that's epic weather as well. So, oh man, I can't think of a better place. Yeah, it looks epic. Epic.
You've got a dog down there. Can you see the dog?
Yeah, can. Very cool. Just chilling.
Yeah, so that is east. In the distance is the Mediterranean Sea. So the sun rises up here every single morning. So usually I stand in this spot and have my cold brew coffee, watching the sun rise in the morning. Very
cool. I mean, yeah, that's a lot nicer than seeing the sunrise in Canning Town. Although it could be worse, I guess.
Yeah, it could be worse. Look, I'm very fortunate to be here. As time goes on, I see myself spending more and more time up here. Because for me, it's just, I'm able to get all the work that I need done, but, I then have the contrast of being on my phone, and being on social media, to being in the middle of absolute nowhere, in the middle of the mountains. So for me, for my mental health, for my productivity, for my focus, for my energy, it's really important to be somewhere like this.
Yeah, that's awesome. My parents have a place in Sardinia, which is kind of similar in a way, because it's quite secluded. And I'm just like looking for the first opportunity to kind of just get out there and just stay there for the next couple of months if we can manage to, but we'll have to see. Listen, Max, yeah, I thought we'd just wrap things up there. I think that's been really, really awesome. I got some great insights there. If someone's watching and wants to know more about what you do, wants to become one of your coaching clients, wants to follow you on Instagram, where are the best places for them to get in touch?
Probably, yeah, Instagram and Facebook is the best bet. So Instagram is @max.lowery, and Facebook is @maxloweryofficial. And yeah, basically, if you're interested in finding out more, just send me a DM. I'll get back to you, and yeah, we can go from there.
Awesome. Well, cheers, Max. Hope that was useful for you guys watching. And yeah, everyone stay safe and stay well. Thanks very much.